So today we will discuss about basics of communication. And let us start with the first slide. And that is, what is communication? Look, I mean, communication is one of the thing which makes us different from animals. I'm not trying to say that animals do not communicate. They also communicate, but they don't have any language. And there are certain basic instincts, and on the basis of those instincts, they try to communicate with each other. But we, as a human being, we developed a language, and because of that, we can uh, record our experiences. We can record our knowledge, information. All those things can be recorded for upcoming generation. This is the difference between humans and animals. So that's why communication is one of the things which makes us different from other species on this earth. So communication can be defined as the process by which people share ideas, experience, knowledge, and feelings through the transmission of symbolic messages. Symbolic messages means everything, verbal or non-verbal. All these are symbols. The letters which you use, which are used in written communication, those are symbols. Because when you go to the history of these written languages, you will find that it started with symbols, right? Pictography. They used to communicate with pictures earlier, and after that, they started using refined symbols for a thing, and gradually it became letters. So that's why it is symbol. And for non-verbal communication, it is obvious that you shake your hand or you point something, you through fire, through beating drums. All these were the initial phases of communication through which humans tried to communicate with each other. So all these are symbolic messages. So we communicate in symbols. So basically, communication is sharing of ideas, experience, knowledge, and feelings. And why we do this? For the betterment of our lives, for betterment of our understanding about our surroundings, about our society, and all these things. So this is the first important thing about communication. And the means of communication are usually spoken or written words, pictures, or symbols. But we also give information through body language, gestures, and looks, facial expression. All these are non-verbal type of communication. And when we communicate, the both verbal and non-verbal, both communication, we do both types of communication. And that's why while communicating, these non-verbal things are also important. That what is your body language during communication, your gesture, your posture, your looks, facial expression, all these things are important. And that's why it is said that how to soft skills, we talk about soft skills, and all these non-verbal things comes under uh, soft skills. So this is the common understanding about communication. And for you, communication is just sharing of ideas, experience, knowledge for the betterment of human lives, right? So and what is the process? This communication process, communication, the students of communication, they must be knowing that there is a SMCR model, that is sender, message, channel, receiver. These are the way how communication is being done. So first, sender is the person who want to share the information. Here I am the sender because I am sharing information to you people. And what is I am sharing? I am sharing the thing I am sharing, that is called message. And you are the receiver. Right now you are receiving the message, so you are receiver. And what is the channel? Channel is this electronic medium. Channel is this Google Meet. And obviously my oral communication, I am using oral and written communication both. I am presenting some written words to you, and I am also trying to convey my message orally. So this is how whole messages, the whole communication process is done. And messages have to be encoded, translated into understandable symbols or language. Encoded means that the things I have written in this English language, that is encoded in English language, and it must be understandable. If I would have encoded it in Russian language, you would not be getting it because you don't know Russian language. So the encoding must be done into understandable symbols or language, and then message have to be decoded. Now this message is reaching to you, and you are decoding the message. Why you are decoding the message? To further interpret it and make sense of, to understand what I am trying to say, tell you, right? So this is whole process, and the pathway by which a message travels is the medium. Here I am told that we are communicating through internet, so this is electronic path. This is medium is computer technology. Medium is this internet infrastructure. So this is, there are four things which are important: sender, message, medium, and receiver. And finally, feedback. Feedback is also important, that if I am telling something to you and whether you are getting it or not. So receiver's reactions to the sender's message. If you are, why it is important? Because if you will give your feedback, then I would understand that what is the limitation of my encoding. There must be some problem in coding, there may be some problem in medium, there may be some problem in sender's attitude, the way I'm trying to convey my message. I may be biased, I may be not sounding convincing. So whatever it is, if you will give feedback, then communicator, a sender, will try to work upon that and try to rephrase its messages and whole communication process to convey it to you and to further communicate it to you. So feedback is also an important part of this communication process. And any disturbance that interferes into the transmission of a message is noise. Anything. Suppose my audio stops now, this is noise. Suppose you sitting there and you find some other things to do, you find some disturbances, you got a mail and you just switching your tab to go to the mail and trying to see what is in your mail. So this is a noise. So whatever this disturbances comes, that is a noise. So this is a whole communication process. This is the pictographic representation, diagrammatic representation of all these things. SMCR model, it is called SMCR model. That is, and when feedback is introduced in it, it becomes circular. Sender, then message, then channel, and receiver, and then finally feedback. And feedback goes to sender, and sender then whole process may start again. So this is the process. There are various way of communication. One is one-way communication. One-way communication, information flows only in one direction, right? Suppose a leader is standing on a big dais and he is delivering a speech in a big rally. That is a kind of one-way communication. And because it is one-way flow of the information, and sender just convey his messages and receive with no feedback, because it is not possible that receivers will give feedback immediately. Second is a much common way of communication. It is very common because it is faster and easier for the sender, and there is no trouble from disagreement. If people disagree, then at the time of delivering your speech and the time of communication, you will not find any disturbance. People may disagree, but you will not be affected by their disagreement at that time. There may be mistakes in transmission of information, right? So because there is no feedback, so mistakes is always possible. So this is one-way communication. Second is two-way communication, a process in which information flows in two directions. The receiver provides feedback and the sender receptive to the feedback, right? I am ready to get your feedback. So this is two-way communication. Yes, I have certain knowledge, I have certain information, so I want to give it to you, but at the same time, I must be ready to get your feedback. whether you got the point or not, whether you understood what I tried to say. So all I must be receptive, and then I must work upon that feedback and then rephrase my messages to make it more effective. It is more accurate, obvious, because there is a feedback and fewer mistakes in transmission. Mistakes will be few, and but it is time consuming and more difficult for the center. Obviously, suppose I'm giving a presentation now, and ultimately at the end you say, "Sir, I did not get anything." So it is difficult because I will have to present it again. I will have to work upon it. So the two-way communication. It is more effective way of communication, and this is preferable in development communication, obviously, because in development communication, what happens that sender goes to a village and with a feeling that yes, he knows everything. They are backward people, and you try to give your idea to them, and you want them to agree to your idea. You want them to accept your idea without considering their background, their social status, economic status. This is one-way kind of communication, and it will not help, right? So it must be two-way. You must understand their position, and that's why two-way communication is preferable, and it will be effective in development communication. These are certain types of communication: extrapersonal communication, intrapersonal communication, interpersonal communication, group communication, and mass communication. These are 5 types of communication. Extrapersonal communication, communication between human beings and non-human entities, is called an extrapersonal communication. For example, your parrot responding your greetings, right? This is extrapersonal communication, and in this type of communication, understanding is required between sender and receiver. Receivers response in sign language because it is extrapersonal. You are communicating to other, not with humans but other species. So that's why it is difficult. It has no importance in human communication. But yes, there are people who communicate with animals, who communicate. There are tribal people. At the time of tsunami, there was a story that when we came to understand that how tribal people of Andaman and Nicobar island were less affected by tsunami, because they sensed that something is coming, and before tsunami hit the Andaman Nicobar island, they were in safe place. So it means they had a kind of they have a communication skill to communicate with extrapersonal things, right? They communicate with the atmosphere. They communicate with the activities of birds and animals, and from that they infer that yes, this is something dangerous thing is coming, and it helped them. So that's why extrapersonal communication is also important. And a lot of research is going on this, that it is said that if I mean something is going to happen, your dogs, cows, they start, birds, they start behaving differently. So this is a new area of research. Scientists are doing their work. Interpersonal communication, it is kind of introspection. Interpersonal means that you communicate with yourself. You try to introspect certain thing, you try to understand certain thing by your own. Right. So this is interpersonal communication. And how sender, who is sender? Our relevant organ. Sender means that our mind may be the organ. Our mind is thinking something, and receiver is again our brain, and feedback our brain. So everything is happening inside our brain. So this is interpersonal communication. Interpersonal communication, when two people communicate with each other, this is interpersonal communication. And communication at this level refers to the sharing of information among people. Intrapersonal communication can be formal or informal. Sorry, it is intrapersonal, it is interpersonal basically. For example, the interaction with family members, friends, and different kind of people, that is interpersonal communication. It depends upon variety of factors like psychology of two parties, relationship between them. So these are certain things that which kind of communication will take place. right? So interpersonal communication is affected by other factors also. So basically, it is communication between two people, interpersonal communication, right? Group communication. It is a communication within a group. A big group is communicating with each other. The purpose of group communication are to share and exchange information and ideas. Because a group of people, suppose you are 36 students or 35 students, you are a group. You go to a village, you do a kind of survey, and you sit together and exchange your information and ideas with each other. So this is a kind of group communication. Why we do it? To collect feedback, information on any project, policy, scheme. So suppose I sent you to the village, and now we are sitting together, and I'm trying to collect feedback. Right. Currently, we are doing a group communication. Yes, it is a kind. It is now one way that I am saying something to you, but eventually it will become group communication, because at the end you may ask me question. So this is how group communication. This is an example of group communication. And to arrive at a decision on any important matter, suppose any matter comes, and uh, whole class sit together and decide what to do. Suppose you have to plan a freshers party, you have to plan some teachers day celebration, all these kind of things, you sit together and come to a decision. So group communication has certain tasks. For these purposes, group communication takes place. Again, to solve a problem which is a concern to the organization as a whole, to discuss on a particular issue related to the benefit of particular group or to a larger audience, to elaborate upon any work done on or research undertaken in order to elicit feedback. These are basically a group is involved in deciding certain things. So this is a group communication. Next is mass communication. And mass communication, TV, journals, books, newspapers, internet, news websites, all these are a kind of mass communication. And for this kind of communication, we require a mediator to transmit information, right? Because if I want to transmit information, mediator will be TV, mediator will be newspaper. Mediator means that a person who, suppose newspaper is a medium of mass communication, and there is a publisher who is publishing a newspaper. So publisher become mediator. And in this mass communication system, we have delayed feedback, obviously, because it will lead to the audience, they will read it, they will send their feedback. But yes, internet and online journalism has made it little faster, because you will, and the features of online medium are being used by other mediums also, especially TV journalism. They are using this ICT, information communication technology, to get instant feedback. And you must have seen that at the time of program, they run a poll, and within 30 minutes, they get answers from audience, and at the end, in half an hour, they get feedback. And they follow Twitter account, they follow Facebook, they follow trending keywords, and by doing these things, they get feedback very fast. So ICT has changed this thing little bit, but still, mass communication. In mass communication, there is a delayed feedback. Then, what is the characteristics of mass media? Large reach, obviously, the communication reach audience, scattered over a wide geographical area. The program is watched in all over India, and or you can say all over the world. So it has a large reach. Impersonality. There is not a person involved, because largely impersonal, as the participants are unknown to each other, right? A large audience is watching a program, and they don't know each other. So this medium is impersonal. And presence of a gatekeeper. In mass communication, there will be always a gatekeeper. That what is important, what is not important, what should be shown, what should be published, what should be not published. These are decided by gatekeepers, and there are a debate over the role of gatekeeper. Some people say that gatekeeper sets agenda, gatekeeper is influenced by political party, they run their own agenda. These are kind of things which are being said by to the gate for the gate role of gatekeeper. But yes, there are certain positive things also with the gatekeeper, because gatekeeper is the person who decide for us that which is important, which has a national, international importance, and according to importance, they provide us information. So it makes easy for us to understand what is important for the country. For example, there is a conflict between China and India, and gatekeepers have decided that this is important, and that's why they are publishing it, they are telecasting it. So it is gatekeeper who provide us this filtered information, right? So these are the characteristics of mass communication. And complex communication. Most communications are more complicated. Messages travel through filters. Complex communication, I'm talking about mass communication. That mass communication is a kind of complex communication, that messages travel through filters. In publication houses, in newspapers organization, you will find that a reporter gets stories from their the supporter submitted to the editing desk. Sub-editor edit it according to his own understanding, and he puts a headline. Then it goes to senior sub-editor. Senior sub-editor further sees the story. Then it goes to chief sub-editor. After that, it goes to news editor. Then it goes to the main editor. And so at every level, at every step, there is a possibility of filters, and at last, it is also possible that the main editor, the chief editor, may deny publishing that story. So this is the that's why it is a complex communication, and need to be aware of possible distortions, so miscommunication can be interpreted. We must understand that there must be some possibility of distortions. It will take place, and I don't want to get into detail because we have limited time. But I just want to give you a short example. That suppose there is an accident near our university, right? A reporter goes there, and he frame a story which says that there is an accident on Gaya Panchanpur Road, and he just gives the details about the accident, who died, driver is captured or not, what police is doing, whether the injured is critical or died. This kind of information he is giving, right? There is another reporter who give a different perception to the story, and he writes that there is no construction of road is not good. There is a unavailability of traffic police on that road. There is no regular checking of on that road, whether people are following the traffic rules or not. And he published it in different manner. Now these two stories have different perceptions, right? One story is talking about just facts, one story is giving other little information, and it is focused on causes of that accident. So you can understand that how two journalists, two reporters are seeing a particular incident in different manner. So that's why mass communication is called complex communication. So you must, the receiver must be aware to how to interpret it. Interpretation, miscommunication can be there. So that's why we call it a complex communication. This is a complex communication process. This is a diagram, right? This is a sender, and these are things which are filters, right? As a sender, your semantics, we will discuss it in next slide. As semantics, emotions, language, culture, attitude, role expectations, gender specific focus, non-verbal messages. These are filters through which these filters affect senders, and these filters also affect receivers also, right? Sometimes sender says something, right, and receiver does not take it in totality. A reason may be that these are certain barriers, these are certain filters which are stopping them to receive that information as it is, right? So receiver will get the information and send, after going through all these filters, sender will give the message, and after going through all these filters, receiver will send the feedback, right? So this is how communication process takes place in a complex communication. These are some filters, we will discuss it little bit. Semantics means relationship between words and their meanings, right? What we say, the word is being used, and what meanings it derives. We often assume that the words we use mean the same things to others, but these assumptions can create problems, right? The thing which we say might be not understood to others. The thing we say might be understood differently by other people, right? So this is the first thing that you must be aware, that how to use the words, right? So that the correct meaning can be derived. Abstract terms are subject to more interpretation of meanings. Example, some words have imprecise meaning and can be interpreted in different ways. For example, development. We are, studying development communication. So, development, if we use development without any proper references, then it has different meaning. For you, development may be different. For a person living in urban centers, may be different. A person living in village, it will be different. A person, a rickshaw puller, the development is different. Happiness is also different for others. So you must be aware that if you are saying development, you must be very precise and accurate while using such terms. So semantics are very important, and these are important filters. This is important filter, right? Second is emotions. This is a powerful communication filter. Receivers may think with their emotions. You may be giving the things factually, but receivers may be taking it emotionally, right? And strong emotions can prevent reception. If they are emotionally charged, they will not listen to you, right? For example, take the case of Sushant Singh Rajput. There are people who feel that yes, it is murder. They don't want to wait for CBI investigation. They don't want, and if CBI gives different version that no, it is suicide, then they will not accept it, right? Because they are emotionally charged, and that's why they will not receive even factual information, right? So you will have to take care of emotions also, and how to deal with these things, it is also important for a communicator. And it may prevent reception or distort the strength of a message. The strength of message will be distorted because they are not able to receive it, they will not receive it. May shift attention from the message content to feelings, right? Attention will be on feelings. What is content? No. People are watching whole day. Riya Chakravarti is, four camera persons are running behind same channel. I saw that when Riya Chakravarti left her house for narcotics bureau, four camera person in four cars from a same channel were capturing her car. And what is the purpose? And people are seeing that. We know in one line that yes, Riya Chakravarti has left her house and she will obviously reach to the narcotics bureau in half an hour or 40 minutes. What is the point in showing the whole path? It is like a Dandi march or what? I don't understand. But anyway, these kind of feeling, and because people are emotionally charged, so they watch day and night, right? So this will certainly shift attention. They don't, content, the people don't want content. Content is one line, and for this one line content, they watch TV for 5 hours. So now see, content is important or feelings is important? Feelings is important in certain cases. An angry client can easily ruin effective communication. Suppose you go to a client and client is very angry, you might be very communicating effectively, but he will not receive your point. He will not accept your point. So emotions is a very powerful filter. Now attitude, negative and positive attitude, we know, right? Some people have negative attitude, they will not understand you, they will tag you. No, you, if you will say that that is related to some particular ideology, so that's why people will not receive your message. So this negative positive attitude towards a person, towards a issue, it also impacts the communication. Attitude may be based on voice, accent, gesture, dress, delivery, mannerism, speaker's topic. All these are topics on which attitude are based on, right? Sometimes we don't like if a person starts talking, and from the moment a person starts talking, we decide that the person is we get an attitude toward the person, whether the person is we take the person positively or negatively. So many times we don't like accent, so many times we don't like gestures, dress, and we from all these things we get positive and negative attitude. It happens with everybody, right? We go to we travel through a public transport, we board a bus, and in bus we don't like few people, we don't know them, but yes, by just their gesture, by just seeing their face, we don't like them. We even don't know them, but liking and disliking are based on our attitude, and these are certain parameters on which our attitude are based on. For example, the listener may not like the Sonia Gandhi's voice because she speaks in her Hindi is very not good. Hindi is not good. He speaks in very different kind of accent, and a hard time listening to the intended message, therefore breaking down communication, because Sonia Gandhi voice is not understandable by a common person, because she speaks in a different manner. Hindi speaking is not good, so that's why the intended messages people will not listen, and communication will break down. So this is what attitudes are also important. Language and cultural barriers. Right, English is the dominant language in the global marketplace, and accommodate the needs of those whose first language is not English. Consideration when using English with non-native speakers: speak slowly, clearly, avoid slang, ask if clarification. I have just focused it on English language because we use in language. English is a because dominant language, so that's why we use English language. So while using this language, which is not a native language, and people might not understand this language properly, so if you are using English, then speak slowly, clearly, avoid slangs, ask if clarification is needed. If the receiver wants certain clarification, you must be ready for that. And these are understood barriers. A person, if you are Hindi speaker, if you are going to South India, this is a barrier because there people don't know Hindi. If a South Indian people come to North India and go to the common people to communicate and to give certain information, again language barrier is there. There are certain cultural barriers also. Culturally, people are different. Right? A Bengali culture is different from culture, and if a Bengali person will go to the Punjab and he will try to say certain things, then these barriers also hampers the communication. Culture, there are certain other things which are also important in culture: how fast you should talk, how much you should talk, how long you should pause between ideas, how long you should wait after someone finishes talking before you say something. These are some cultural things which are important. Role expectations, yes, influences how people expect themselves and others to act. Two ways they can distort communication. See how communication may be distorted. People may identify others too closely with their roles. Example, it is just the leader again saying the same old thing. Role expectation, we I mean, and we fix a role to a particular person, right? Uh, for example, if you have 4 teachers, you assign certain roles to them. Okay, this is this teacher. Oh, he will say this kind of thing. This is this teacher. Okay, he will say this kind of things. Same thing happens with leader. Suppose Rahul Gandhi is speaking something, we fix a role that yeah, Rahul Gandhi will speak bogus, right? He has no sense. He is Pappu. He will not speak a sense. This is how we fix a role. Narendra Modi is speaking. Yes, Narendra Modi will speak possible thing. This is how we expect from different leaders, and that's why these are examples. People may identify others too closely with their roles. People, second, that it is just the leader again saying the same old thing. This is Rahul Gandhi, he will say the same old thing. People use their roles to alter the way they relate to others. Leaders expecting people to accept what they say simply because of their authority. This is another way. The sender fills the role of audience. That just whatever I am saying, you must accept that because I am your leader, right? Same thing happens with a development communicator. As a development communicator, you go to village and you feel that yes, you know the right thing, so audience must accept your idea, right? Because you are the knowledgeable person. So these kind of role expectations are very dangerous, and these role expectations also weakens the communication process. This is gender specific focus. I mean, this is a YouTube link. You can go and watch. It is basically written because what is your audience? Who is your audience? If you are going to women participants, your role, you must understand that how women participants will accept your idea. And if you are going to the male participants, how you should prepare your idea. So these are just go through these very fast. This is a research based thing. Gender conditioned to approach communication in different ways, right? What is the males take charge, establish rank and status. This is what males do. And if you go to the females, they are facilitative, cooperative, look for similarities. So these things must be in your mind while communicating to a particular group. Suppose you are communicating to a male group, then you must understand that they will try to take charge. They will try to establish a rank, a status. So you must keep this thing in mind, and accordingly you should make a group and create these ranks, give them charge, right? So these kind of things will work with male participants. And if you are working with females group, then you need not to establish rank. They are facilitative, cooperative. They can work in a group. This is what I mean researchers say. So this is what the details are given here, and this link, you can go to this link and watch the whole research, right? So now characteristics of effective communication. If you want to communicate effectively, messages. How for effective communication, it requires messages to be, what kind of messages should be written? First, it must be clear and concise. Second, it must be accurate, relevant to the needs of the receiver, right? It should not be abstract. It must be focused on the needs and requirements of the people. It must be timely, right? They need information right now and you give them after 1 month. It has no meaning. It must be meaningful, right? And applicable to the situation. Whatever the situation is, your idea should be, your message should be applicable, right? So that it may help them. So these are certain points for framing the messages. And to a sender, what kind of what are the qualities a sender should have? First, know the subject well. You must know what is the subject and what kind of thing you are dealing with. Be interested in the subject. Just to get job and you You want to be in a NGO and you just got a job, you are working there, you have no understanding about the subject. So this kind of thing will certainly affect the communication. Third is know the audience members and establish a rapport with them. You should establish a rapport with them. Speak at the level of the receiver. If they are villagers, you must go to their level, and you should try to look like that you are a part of them. Right? Gandhi was a great example. Choose an appropriate communication channel. As per audience, if you suppose you decide to use WhatsApp for a particular communication, and you find that villagers don't have smartphones, so certainly your communication will fail. So channels should be appropriate. Channel, for the channel, what channel should be appropriate, affordable, and appealing. So these are characteristics of effective communication regarding channel. Receiver, there is also certain requirement for receivers also, because if receivers have no certain characteristics, then certainly communication will fail. Your channel will be good, sender have all the qualities, but your communication will fail just because the receiver does not have such qualities. Receivers should be aware, interested, and willing to accept the message. They must understand that yes, that sender has come here for their benefits, and they must be ready to accept the message. Listen attentively. When we will discussing models and theories, you will understand that how receivers' unwillingness is also a very important thing in communicating development related messages. Listen attentively. Receivers should listen attentively. Understand the value of the message. You must understand that yes, this is valuable for them, this will change their life, and provide feedback. They must be ready to provide feedback. If a receiver does not understand the message, he or she must be ready to give feedback, so that sender will work upon that, and further new way of delivering messages may be done. So these are effective verbal communicator. These are certain characteristics in verbal communication and non-verbal communication. In verbal communication, what a verbal communicator does, he clarifies, listens, encourages empathically, acknowledges, restates, repeats. These are certain things. He must be to clarify the thing, listen very attentively, encourage empathically. Empathically means we must put ourselves in their position, and by that way, we should encourage them how to take part in whole process. Acknowledge means acknowledge their problem, acknowledge their limitation, acknowledge their concerns. So these are the basic restate and repeats, always ready to repeat the things. And for non-verbal, it relaxes. Your non-verbal attitude should be relaxing. People not feel chaotic while listening to you. Many people, what they do, their whole gesture, posture creates chaos, right? So it must be relaxing. It must be open, sir. People should open up to you. So appropriate facial expression, right? Establishes eye contact. So your facial expression should be up to the mark. You must establish eye contact while communicating something to the people. So these are certain characteristics of effective communication. And knowledge and skills needed for effective communication. These are certain points: adequate knowledge, understanding of values, and willingness to withhold judgment. Skills in verbal and non-verbal communication: ability to show empathy, tolerance, patience, ability to paraphrase and summarize the concerns of individuals and the community, right? Then ability to observe and interpret behavior of other people, ability to use language that other people understand, skills to effectively use support materials, right? Confidence, flexibility. These are, I mean, you must be aware of all these keywords So I need not to explain all these points. You must be knowing it, and if you don't understand, you can ask me later on. There is a video that is a 7 C's of development, right? Which is very important. While as a sender, you must know that what are these 7 C's of development. So if you will take care of these 7 C's, your communication will be effective. So just listen to it. So these 7 C's are really important. If you keep all these 7 C's while uh, framing a messages for a particular audience, it will really help you, and it will be really effective. So this is a kind of assignment. This is not a marked assignment. You will not get any marks for that. But yes, try to write 2-page comment on any of the following statements. First is, actions speak louder than words. Second is, say what you mean what you say. C, parents should listen more. D, you take back your word. And E, communication is speaking and listening. These are some phrases, and keeping today's lecture in mind, how can we communicate effectively, what are the limitations, so these should whole lecture should be in your mind, and on the basis of that you write a 2-page comment and send it to me, right? So it is not a marks based assignment, but yes, if you are interested, you may write it. It will really help you in understanding communication, right? So this is what I had to say. Now if you have any question, you can ask me.